All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining CTA Member Benefits for You. So today we are going to be talking about Calm. We'll show you quickly how to log into your free CTA Calm account. And we have a very special guest today, Zach Albert. He is from Calm. He's been with Calm for about how many years now?
2 years today.
2 years. Great. So he's going to show us some great resources and benefits that Calm has to offer. So some great, exciting information here. So, you could extend what you use on the app from meditation to sleep stories. Zach's going to show you all the other different great resources there. And then for anybody who has not signed up for Calm yet with CTA, it is a free premium subscription. So what that means is you're able to add 5 dependents to this subscription, which is great. So if you have some family members that, have talked about Calm or wasn't, sure if they wanted to use it, this is a great opportunity for you to share this great benefit with your family members. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Zach is going to present his screen and then show you all the great resources that we have.
Awesome. All right. Um, Great to see everyone. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. So Yvonne, I'm gonna lean on you. Perfect. Okay. Great to see everyone. I'm Zach Elpert. I'm the customer success manager for the CTA with Calm. My role it really is to act as kind of that liaison between Calm and CTA. And as an added benefit, I am the son of a teacher and the husband of a teacher. So I spend a lot of my day hearing about IEPs and really kind of evaluating the educational environment of Chicago public schools. So really excited to be able to talk to everyone today. And so really what I'd like to do is highlight what Calm is and what it can offer and the benefits that it provides. And as Yvonne mentioned, walk through kind of some of the specifics behind where we at Calm want to make sure that you know what the product can offer you as an individual, as well as being able to share it with friends and family members through our dependence program. So jumping right along, um, the past 4 years have been tough. They've been a really mentally trying period for all of us. And I think educators have really kind of seen the disproportionate brunt of that mental health strife really kind of falling on all of you. And so, what we did at Calm was really work closely with the American Psychological Association to get a better understanding as to how our mental health has been impacted, not just due to the pandemic, but due to the kind of the stressors that it has caused and then continues to cause, to this day. And so, in this study that was done by the APA, they assessed to understand how people were feeling across 4 key areas. So, anxiety, depression, stress, and sleep. And in their study, what they found was 78% of the respondents reported that their mental health had been impacted by the pandemic in terms of their anxiety and depression levels growing. 83% saw that their stress levels caused from work related stress growing. And then 43%, which I feel is actually probably pretty low, of workers or employees said that they were sleep deprived. And so, like I said, I watched my wife throughout the pandemic go from working virtually to back in the classroom, and she is a special education teacher. And so, having to work very closely with students. So, in addition to having to wear a mask, she wore a shield, and it made her job so much harder. And so, at the end of the day, I would watch her come home and just be so physically exhausted from her day to day that I could tell that there was something going on. There was some real mental angst that was, percolating, and it was concerning. And so having a resource like Calm was really helpful for her and for her colleagues as they started to focus on their mental health so that they could then help their students. And so Calm has a lot of customers. And so what that does is that allows for us to have the opportunity to work with them directly and do really fun studies with them to get a better understanding as to how they feel when they utilize Calm. And so we did a study with 12,000 Calm customers, and we have this really cool Calm science team, and our chief clinician works directly with them. And in that study, what they were able to find is that in these 12,000 users, those users that are using Calm regularly, 84% of them reported improvements in their overall mental health. 80% saw improvements in their depressive symptoms, and 90% reported improvements in their anxiety symptoms. Calm's not a silver bullet. It is an incredible mental health tool that should be used as kind of like an arrow in your quiver of mental health resources. So those that are provided by your schools, as well as those that are also provided by the CTA, take advantage of all of them, because Calm is really going to act in conjunction with all of them to really kind of help improve your mental health. In that same study, what we saw was regular usage of Calm is really what helps kind of drive home the benefits that you're going to see. And so, 68% of the respondents said that they saw improvements in their stress levels just by using Calm 1 or 2 times a week. 81% saw improvements by using Calm 5 or more times a week. And the cool thing with this was that it didn't require a specific amount of time for each session. It wasn't like you need to use Calm 30 minutes a day. It's use Calm as needed. We have sessions that are as short as a minute, some that are as long as an hour. It's really kind of whatever fits best for your schedule. Just use it, build it as part of your daily routine. And we have a lot of really great content that helps with that. And Calm has really been helpful for users that have experienced burnout. So whether it's emotional exhaustion or depersonalization, the feeling of just kind of being completely overwhelmed, we all have felt it. And so what Calm has really kind of actively engaged on is this idea of helping users that have felt initially the early stages of burnout. So it's almost like a preemptive opportunity to work on that. And so all of the employee testimonials that you've seen in the bottom left-hand corner actually come from Calm users. We send out surveys, we send out feedback support forms, and we collect all of this feedback and we report it back to organizations anonymously, but just so that we can collect this data and understand how do people actually feel. And so burnout was one of the core topics people brought up. So how can we better handle stress and improve resilience? And so the fun thing with Calm is that, since I started over the past 2 years, mental resilience has been our core initiative, really helping people kind of build, a level of resilience when it comes to just overall how you're feeling. We've spent 4 years of really feeling rough. And so what we're trying to do is help people kind of step in that positive direction. And so through mindfulness practices, mental resilience can be developed, which enables higher levels of concentration, focus, and self-awareness. So basically the way that we, use January as a, part of New Year's resolutions to maybe become a bit more healthy physically, it's an opportunity to look at how we can use a tool like Calm to help build a healthy mental resilience, building a level of toughness around how we're feeling in a positive way, not like a tough negative stigma. And so I like to think of this as mindfulness being the difference. And so without mindfulness, stressor, involuntary reaction. So think fight or flight. You encounter a really difficult parent who is really frustrated about something that's going on with their student. Unfortunately, a lot of times that happens and you have an involuntary reaction like a fight or flight where you feel like you need to flee the situation or you don't know how to appropriately handle it because you're so flustered. What mindfulness can offer is this idea of, encountering a stressor, using mindfulness as a tool, whether it's, meditative breathing or, simple acts of decompression. And then understanding that you have a choice in that. And so it's not just a fight or flight situation, but it's a voluntary response. I always make the joke that, I moved from Wisconsin to Chicago. I moved from not a small town. I moved from Milwaukee to Chicago, but comparatively very small. And in Milwaukee, there's no traffic. You can get anywhere in 15 minutes. But when I moved to Chicago, it took me an hour to get to my office. And that was like on a light day. And I lived like 10 miles from my office, if that. And it would drive me crazy. And I developed a bit of road rage and I didn't know how to handle it. And so it took a lot of time and a lot of research. But what I was able to understand is that, I have to learn to accept certain things. And so, when we look at this kind of, circular, flow chart, when we hit this adverse or stressful event, so traffic or, frustrated parents or a student, using an improved stress response, and some of them are listed to the top right-hand corner, using healthy sleep habits. So feeling more rested can help make a more informed decision as to how we're feeling. Using simple meditations, like I said, there are sessions that are as short as a minute. Calming music, mindful movement, and then gratitude practices, and then I'll also throw in breathing techniques, can all help lead to an increased level of resilience. Um, we actually just did a pretty cool study with a number of educators, and what we were able to find was that educators who used Calm reported feeling less worried and more well rested. It was my mom and my wife. We did the study on the two of them. I'm joking. We didn't. But we work with a lot of schools. We work from K through 12 as well as into higher education. So we work with educators, across the spectrum, and we see great results from that. Really high signups and really high engagements because whether they're using it in the classroom, using it in their home life, or both, they're finding the benefits from being able to control their worrying or feeling more rested. Calm is a pretty diverse product. It has a lot of really unique content available for you. So it's not just meditations and it's not just the breathing techniques I keep mentioning. Things like sleep stories, really incredible music, wisdom pieces, which probably a bit more like podcasts, as well as movement activities. So video-based movement programming. We have a lot of content that's available that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Calm's available in 7 localized languages. What that means is that nothing is, Google translated. We have content available in 7 unique languages where we work with partners in each of those languages to come up with content that is specific for that language. We want people to feel that the content that we're providing for them is unique to that language and to that individual. Um, Calm has an incredibly diverse array of content, 350, now actually probably closer to 400 diverse narrators of different ethnicities, genders, religions, and sexual orientations. The objective is really to make sure that anyone that wants to use Calm will feel seen and know that there is content available for them that they will find to resonate with them. As I mentioned, it's available in 7 native languages, and it's across 190 countries. So whether you're staying here in the States or traveling abroad, you can use Calm wherever you are. And as I mentioned before, we localize the content. So it's going to be narrators coming from all over the world to develop content specifically for Calm. The other cool thing is the music that we work with. We work with incredible musicians, some maybe less known, but some incredibly well known, like Ariana Grande and Alanis Morissette. So really cool to be able to kind of build that into our repertoire. So as we mentioned before, you have the ability now to share Calm with up to 5 additional users. So think of it kind of like Netflix, where you can add more people to your account. With Calm, you effectively have 6 licenses, one for yourself, and then one that you can share with a friend or a family member. We call it dependents, which probably isn't the best name because it makes you think that it has to be someone on your benefits plan, but they don't. Anyone in your life that you think could benefit from having access to Calm, go for it. I actually have all of my sisters on my account. I have 5 of them. None of them are on my benefits plans, but they're all my siblings, and I wanted to make sure that they had access to this. And the nice thing is they use it with their families, and so it's a really nice situation. So please take advantage of that. I think that's one of the most incredible, resources that we have available for our customers. So ideas on including Calm work at school, we have a lot of really cool options for you. And so the way that I kind of look at it is the way that, and I'll use my wife and my mom as the examples, the way that they've been using Calm is pretty unique. They're both special education teachers. One is a tier 3 and one is in a separate classroom. So working with students who require special assistance outside of the main classroom. And so every day is different for them, but they each listen to Calm on the way to school, whether it's a simple quick daily J session, which is about 7 minutes, or they'll listen to one of the shorter 1 to 3 minute meditations. And it's a breathing technique that they can do while they're driving. We have commuting based content, so keep your eyes open. And then when they get in the classroom, depending on the number of students they're working with at that time, they're going to find appropriate content to essentially set the tone or set the mood. So whether it's quiet music to play in the background, or if students need specific types of content for input or sensory, they'll find that content and they'll play that. And then on the way home, they might find unique content to listen to on the way home as part of their commute to decompress. And then I know my mom listens to specific sleep stories, so she listens to the Matthew McConaughey story pretty regularly. And my wife listens to the breathing techniques that we do with my son to help him fall asleep. And so there's a range of ways that you can use Calm, both on your own as well as in the classroom. We have a ton of Calm Kids content available. And this is content that comes from all of the major studios that we partner with, as well as those that we develop ourselves. We've recently launched content with Disney, with Nickelodeon, as well as Universal Studios. So, whether you're a fan of the, Disney princesses or Paw Patrol or the Minions or Peppa Pig, there's really great content that you have available that can be played in the classroom that can keep kids engaged. So whether it's breathing techniques, soundscapes, meditations, really fun stuff that kids will really engage with, whether they're coming in from the playground or they're older students and they're in teenagers and they're in high school. We work with a number of districts in California that use Calm in high school classrooms. So a lot of great content that works for them as well. I do have some fun things that you can do with Calm on your own or as a team. So if you're ever meeting with colleagues and you want to use Calm, my recommendation is to find either a really quick meditation prior to meetings, maybe it's during professional development days, or you can do something fun like a Calm movement break, so the daily move. It's a really fun way to see your colleagues get up, move around, stretch a little bit, build a little bit of awkward camaraderie, but then actually feel a little bit better after sitting all day. So something to kind of look into, but we all know teachers don't sit all day. So just something to kind of help move around a bit. We have a lot of work-life content. So if you go into the app, you'll see the for work section. Definitely take advantage of that. The content available is going to be very unique and diverse, but you'll find stuff that's going to help with work anxiety. So as I mentioned before, if you have a big meeting coming up and you want to listen to something quickly, the reducing work anxiety with Chibs Okereke is fantastic, and it's a really short session. And as I mentioned before, we work with a lot of really incredible people, and in some cases, really popular celebrities like LeBron James. He has 2 sessions. One is on the wisdom side, so more of a podcast, and the other ones are meditations. He also has a pretty cool sleep story if you're interested in having LeBron James lull you to sleep. Calm has an incredible support team available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have a response rate of 24 hours or less, but please note that they will actually probably get back to you in anywhere between 1 to 4 hours. They're very quick and super helpful should you ever come up with a situation where you are locked out and can't log back in, or you're trying to add a dependent and you're running into an error. You can always reach out to the support team and they can remedy that for you quickly. If there's anything that you may need help with during business hours, you can always reach out to Yvonne, who can send it over to me, and I'm happy to help out that way as well. And that's also another fun thing to think about, is if teachers in your school or your district that could benefit from having Calm, always reach out to me. I'm happy to help with engagements, things like that. And I'll pause there for questions and see if there's anything else that I can help out with.
So much great information, Zach. I mean, we've been using Calm for a year now, and I think you've, introduced me to a lot more resources that I would ever even imagine just looking through the phone. So, we definitely appreciate you coming on today and speaking. So we'll just see if there's a few more minutes. We'll just get some questions. I'm going to actually share my screen just in case some members still want to see how to log in, but we'll keep it open for questions. So we'll give it a few minutes. Zach, is your mom still teaching right now too?
Yeah, she just officially retired this year. So, but I feel like she just can't give it up. So Milwaukee Public Schools has continued to ask her to come in and help out with IEP. So she does it from home. Sometimes she goes into the main office. I feel like she is going to be a teacher forever. So yeah, she likes to do the air quotes of "I've retired." So not quite yet.
That's awesome. I think sometimes I know my mom when she retired, she didn't know what to do with herself until she got a routine of like what she wants to do and like days she hangs out with her friends. But
Yeah.
it took her like a few months just to, really not work anymore. So,
Yep.
you know,
It's all of her very close friends are also teachers and former teachers. So almost every morning she'll go out and meet one of them for breakfast or coffee, and I'll occasionally call and catch them all in the car, and it'll all be teacher talk. So it's always fun to kind of check in to see how they're doing.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So it doesn't look like we have any questions, but we just want to let all our members know that we did record this session, and we'll give it a few days because we need to make sure we get the closed captioning correct on here. And then we will also post it on our member benefits website. And then Zach is going to give me some new content that we're going to put on to help if, bringing calm into your classroom. So we'll have those updated in the next few weeks. So some exciting stuff and updates on our Calm page. So thank you
I think.
again. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yvonne?
Oh yeah.
Yvonne?
I think we do have one quick question that
Yep.
came in from Mary Lou.
Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so Mary Lou, a great question. So the people you do invite, so as part of the dependence feature, she's asking when you invite people, do they reply to the email? So I'll actually share my screen again one more time really quickly just to show you what that looks like. So we are in my Calm account. So you can log in via your desktop or via the mobile app. To add a user, you actually need to do it through calm.com. You can't do it through the app yet. So just go to calm.com, whether on a mobile browser or on your computer, and then scroll to profile and then manage subscription. And what you'll see here is that each of the available slots that you have to add a user is going to be listed here. And so you'll click manage dependents, and then you'll click invite dependents. And what it'll actually populate is a URL that you can copy, and then you can send that to whomever you'd like that to go to. So the friend or the family member. They will then sign up via that link. And in that link, they'll create their account, their profile, and then they'll be able to download the app from there. So they won't need to do anything via the email or anything like that. It'll all be housed within that link. So super easy. My recommendation is to actually do this via your mobile device, so via your phone or your tablet. The reason being is that it's really easy then to take this URL and text it to the user that you want to have sign up. And then that way they can, create their account that way from their phone. That's how I've been able to get all my siblings signed up, is just by texting them the info. So hopefully that helps.
Perfect. That's a great question. Thank you. And then you can actually find directions on our CTA member benefits website. I went ahead and put the link into the chat. So if you just click on that, it should take you to our member benefits website. And then if you scroll down, you'll see additional instructions on how to add dependents. And then just, let your other educator friends know that they can also share it. Go to our website. It'll show them how to do it. And then you can also watch previous sessions that we had, not with Calm, but about our other benefits that we have too. All right, so we're just almost right at 4:30. We want to give everybody back their day. So thank you again, Zach, for coming on and talking about Calm. We really appreciate it. Our members love it, and we're so glad that we have this partnership. And it will continue for the next few years, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah, no, we're super excited to continue this partnership. So thank you all for that.
All right, everybody. Thank you, and have a great night.